Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Unit 4, Day 4. We are going to be finishing up this unit by looking at comparing and ordering rational numbers, all right? And so, really quickly, just to talk about rational numbers. Rational numbers are any numbers that can be written as a simple fraction, okay? So those are rational numbers, and we are going to be comparing. And so really quickly, let's just review some comparing symbols, right? You know this since elementary school. However, you need to remember these, by all means do that. But the greater than symbol is the symbol that I learned it by saying if you sort of do a loop right here, that makes a G, right? So that is the greater than symbol, all right? It is open up to the first number. The less than symbol, which is maybe the easier of the two because it makes an L, which stands for less than, right? So that is the less than symbol, and then of course equal to, all right? And so those are the symbols, right, that we use to compare two rational numbers. So in this lesson, we're going to be comparing them, and also we're going to be putting them in order. So let's start with comparing, okay? So really simple. When you are comparing numbers, it is easiest to change them to decimals. So you want to change them all to decimals so that then you can appropriately compare them, right? And so it's just kind of putting them all in the same form, all right? And so you will be able to use your decimals calculator for this. For the sake of the video and making it not too long, I'm not going to demonstrate every single one in terms of how you convert it. There are a couple that I will show you just because I want to make sure that you understand how to do that. But you need to be doing this with your calculator. So if I were you, I would have a split screen with the video and with the decimals calculator so I can actually be entering it as I am walking through each of these. All right, so 5/4, okay? And I have 1.2 times 10 to the negative 1, all right? And I'm gonna compare these, right? So what I need to do is I need to convert 5/4, so the improper fraction, to a decimal. So I'm going to do that by taking 5 divided by 4, put that into decimals. I'm going to get 1.25. And then this is a number written in scientific notation. This exponent tells me how many times to move the decimal, and because it's a negative, I'm moving it back 1. So this is going to be 0.12 as a decimal, all right? And so I can put a 0 there as a placeholder in front of that decimal. So this is 1.25 and this is 0.1200, all right? And so based on looking at those, it's really easy to tell which is greater. In the 5/4 is greater, so I'm gonna put the greater than symbol, all right? Simple enough, all right? So you can go ahead and do this next one on your own. You can pause it, or you can watch me do it. 5/9, I'm gonna need to convert that into a decimal, all right? And so when I do that, 5 divided by 9, that's gonna give me 0.55. Again, if you don't know how to compute that, just use your calculator. And then I'm gonna do 0.055. One thing that it might be helpful to do is, you see this one has only two decimal places. This one has 3. Oftentimes I will add the same number of decimal places because I can add zeros to this forever and it doesn't change the number. It's just a placeholder. And so when I add so that they all have the same number of decimal places, it allows me to see that this is 550 thousandths and this is only 55 thousandths. So I would encourage you to do that. Add the number of decimal places so that they both have the same. So add zeros so that they have the same number of decimal places, right? And so as I see, this one is greater, so I'm gonna also put the greater than symbol there, all right? And so because this is super important, when we are ordering, it is the same thing. We want to keep in mind the same tip, which is when ordering rational numbers, it's best to change it to decimals, okay? So, all right, change it to decimals. So the same thing, this time we are ordering and we have this set that consists of percent, we got a decimal, we have a fraction, and then we also even have a number written in scientific notation, okay? So the step is the same, all right? We are going to convert all of them into, we're going to rewrite them as decimals, okay? So, and this is what I want to make sure you understand how to do. When you have a percent, okay, and you go to decimals and you want to figure out, okay, how do I convert this to a decimal? If you put 44% in the calculator, it's going to say percent of, right? And to do that, you need to put percent of 1, right? So that is going to give us what this would be as a decimal, which would be 0.44. Again, when you put this in the calculator and it's going to say percent of, you need to put percent of 1, okay? This is already a decimal, so I don't have to change that. Then 3 over 5, I need to change that to a decimal. When I do so, I'm going to get 0.6. 0 and 5500ths is already a decimal. And then 3.01 times 10 to the negative 1. I'm just going to move that one time, and I'm going to get 0.301, okay? So I've converted each of these to decimals, all right? And again, this is just a helpful tip that I think will help you compare them and put them in order. I like to sort of line them up so that the decimal is in the same spot, and it just allows you to see it a little easier, okay? So I'm just lining up the decimal all in the same spot so that so then I can kind of see and compare them a little easier. Some of you might skip this step, and you know what? That's okay, but I will say it's much easier to see and to compare them. Actually, I'm sorry, I wrote that the wrong way. It is 0.301, okay? And so, again, I've lined them up so that the decimal is all in the same spot, okay? And then I would fill in zeros so that they all have the same number of digits. So the biggest one has 3 digits, so I'm going to make sure each of them have 3 digits, okay? And then that makes it really easy to determine which one is greatest or which one is least, okay? And I actually forgot to say this, but here, ascending order. Ascending order means from least. Actually, let's go a different color with this. Okay, ascending order means from least to greatest. Okay, so if I'm ascending, I am going up. Okay, if I'm ascending, I am going up. And then descending order is from greatest to least. Okay, sorry, forgot to mention that. All right, and so the reason I brought that up is because this says rewrite it in descending order, meaning I'm going down. If I'm descending, I'm going down. And so I'm writing this in order from greatest to least. Okay, so I'm going to look over here. Which value is my greatest? Well, again, when I have the same number, this is 440, this is 720, 600, 550, 301. Well, it is the 720. So I'm going to write 0.720. Okay. And if you want, you don't have to include that last zero. You can sort of write it as it was right here. You know what? No, I'm just going to include it. All right, and then what comes after that? What's the second? Well, it would then be the 600, so 0.600, okay? Then it would be the 0.550, okay? Then it would be the 0.440, okay? Just putting these in order from greatest to least, and then it is 0.301, okay? And so now I have rewritten them in the descending order. Now, the last thing that I need to do here is I need to take these and turn them back to what they were originally, because that's what the answer is going to be in, okay? So 0.720 was just 0.72. 0.600 or 6 was 3/5. So I need to change that back to the fraction. 0.55 was 0.55. 0.44 was 44%. And then 3.301 was 3.01 times 10 to the negative 1. All right? All right. Hey, friends, that is what we got to do here. All right? So it's pretty simple, right? We are changing these all to decimals. Again, the lining up part is just so that you can easily compare them and see which one is bigger and which one is smaller, and then you just put them in order. All right? So, hey, I'm going to do one more example here. And then I'm going to let you do one. And actually, I'm going to let you do the remaining problems. All right? So, what's step one? Step one is to convert them, all right, to all decimals. Okay? So, go ahead and do that now. All right? So, when I convert this is 0.5. This is 0.69. This is 3 point, and this is a long decimal. I'm just going to put 38, okay? Then this is 0.47, and then this is 3, okay? So those are all of them, okay? Now, when you line up the decimal, this is 0.5, this is 0.69, this is this is 3.38, this is 0.47, and then this is 3. Now, super important that this 3 is a whole number. So as a decimal, this would be 3.0. Okay, so super important that you line up that decimal correctly. That decimal would be right behind the 3. Okay, so then I can put in zeros so that they all have the same, and it just makes it a little easier to compare these, right? You can think about this in terms of like money, right? 50 cents, 69 cents, $3.38, 47 cents, and then $3, okay? And I am writing this in ascending order, okay? So I'm writing it in ascending order, and ascending order means what? Least to greatest. Okay? And then from there, and I probably should have emphasized, look, I didn't even read the problem here. That is on me. You need to make sure you read this and you know what you are, or put in what order you're putting them in. Okay, I just kind of was excited and just jumped ahead. All right, so now I'm going to put this in order from least to greatest. So starting with the smallest, that would be 0.47. Then we got 0.50. Then we got 0.69. Then we got 3. Then we got 3.38. All right. And then once I have done that, I need to go back and write them as they were originally. Okay. And so the 0.47 was 47%. The 0.5 was 5 times 10 to the negative 1. The 0.69 was 69%. The 3.0 was the square root of 9. And then the 3 3/38 was 3 5/13. Okay? And so this is my answer. All right? So, there you have it. For this next one, again, I want you to read it, rewrite them in descending order. Okay, what is descending order? Then I want you to convert all of them to decimals. You can line up the decimals and then put them in descending order, which is from greatest to least. All right? So go ahead and pause it and then check your work. All right, so this is a bonus one. All right, here we go. So this is 0. Let me change colors. Let's go green. All right, so this one, 0.36, and this is repeating 36, 36. This is already a decimal. This is 4. Square root of 16 is 4. Okay, this as a decimal would be 0.425, and then this as a decimal would be 4.1. Okay, and so then I'm going to line these up. 0.36 repeating, 4.43, 4. Now again, that's 4.0. Then this is 0.425, and then this one is 4.1. Okay, so I lined up the decimal so they're all in the same spot, and then I'm just going to fill in zeros because that will just help me see. Oh, this really technically should be a 3 here, okay, because it's 36 repeating. And then I'm going to put them in descending order, right? Descending order is from greatest to least. Okay, so biggest one, okay. Again, this should be pretty easy once you have them lined up and you can kind of see them. The next biggest one would be 4.1. Okay, then we got 4.0. Then after that we got 0.425. And then lastly we got 0.36 repeating. Okay, so then I'm gonna put them back to the original. Originally this was 4.43. 4.1 was 4.1 times 10 to the 0 power. 4.0 was the square root of 16. 0.425 was 42.5%. And then lastly, 0.36 repeating was 4/11. And this is my correct answer. All right. All right. Hey guys, I feel like that is enough. Again, we would just be doing more of the same. Again, if you are comparing or you're putting in order, the key is to convert them to decimals, and then use that to compare them by. You can line them up and see which one is greater, which one is smaller, and then go from there. All right. And so in this lesson, we have learned how to compare in order rational numbers.